Vacuoles. Vacuoles are small, round structures, and their outermost membrane is called as tonoplast. This stores all solid materials, liquid materials that are required for the cell that need to be excreted by the cells. Useful materials it will store, as well as excretory material which should be excreted by cell also it will store. Okay. So this membrane allows, the stonoplast is a membrane which allows all the substances easily inside, even if it is against concentration gradient. Against concentration gradient. That means generally the flow will be from high concentration region to low concentration region. But even if the concentration is reverse, here high concentration is there, here low concentration is there, still this membrane have capacity to take the molecules inside. When we discussed about plasma membrane, I said you that they have proteins embedded in it. So it is the case for all the membranes, whether it is a plasma membrane, whether it is a membrane around an organelle, there are some proteins and that proteins help in carrying the molecules inside. Okay, so that is the reason why substances enter into these vacuoles. And compare the vacuoles of plant cell and animal cell, we'll see that plant cell has a large vacuole which occupies 70% of space. Why? Because plants keep absorbing water continuously, they take water. Whatever their nutrient requirement is there, that is coming from water through minerals that are dissolved. It keeps taking water continuously. So that is why vacuoles is occupying 70% of the space, even the nucleus is pushed to corner. But in case of animal cells, we can see that there are so many small, minute vacuoles. Very small in size, but large number. Sometimes you can see all are gathered in one place, like this also. We take, for example, amoeba is a unicellular organism. You know that it engulfs the food material. When it engulfs the food material, this particle enters into the body of amoeba and it forms a contractile vacuole. When the food enters inside, it is present inside a contractile vacuole. Okay, contractile vacuole. The function of this contractile vacuole is to digest the food and absorb the nutrients into the body. Okay, even excretory material also are collected into contractile vacuole and they are sent out of the body. And we take the example of paramecium. Paramecium body is a chapel-shaped organism, as you know it. So when food is entering into the body, it will be taken into a vacuole that is called as food vacuole. Okay. So here one thing you should understand, whatever solid liquid material it is storing, then it is called as vacuole. I said you vacuoles are part of endomembrane system. Vacuoles are part of endomembrane system. Okay. So, what is the role of vacuoles in protein synthesis? It stores. Since it is freely moving inside the cytoplasm, it can transfer also. Suppose here the Golgi complex is there, it produced one protein, it is packed. That will enter into this vacuole and it is carried to the corner. Okay. So it stores as well as transports the proteins that are produced by endoplasmic reticulum which are packed by Golgi complex. Okay, so that is about vacuoles. Next organelle is very important organelle, mitochondria. You might have already heard about mitochondria in one or two cases. Did you hear it before? mitochondria. Mitochondria. The name mitochondria means thread-like bodies. Thread-like bodies. Why this mitochondria is called as thread-like bodies? In the cytoplasm, they are seen very minute. It looks like small threads that are floating inside the cytoplasm. They are either sausage shaped or they are cylindrical shaped. Okay, this is sausage shape or cylindrical shape. The size of mitochondria is, if you take the diameter, it is 0.2 to 1 micrometer. If you take the length, it is 1 micrometer to 4.1 micrometer. Okay, and number of mitochondria can be from 100 to 150 in cell. Okay, structure of mitochondria. Mitochondria is made up of two membranes. This is TS. You are taking the complete cylindrical body that is like this. You are cutting like this and observing from here. So it is called as TS of mitochondria. So when you observe TS of mitochondria, there are two membranes. This membrane is outer membrane and this one is inner membrane. This is outer mitochondrial membrane. Mitochondrial membrane. This is inner mitochondrial membrane. What is present inside this inner mitochondrial membrane is a liquid matrix, liquid, fluid like cytoplasm only. This is also fluid like substrates. It is called as matrix. The inner membrane has so many folds like this. Okay, why these folds are present? To increase the surface area. Like, okay, Gunasheshu will see that. Okay. So this inner mitochondrial membrane has so many folds to increase the surface area. If it is round like this, we have a small length of surface area. But when it is folded like this, the surface area is increasing. Okay. These inner folds of mitochondria are called as cristae. On these cristae, there are small particles which are called as F1 particles. In all, I am not drawing all over, only some place I am drawing. And these particles are called as F1 particles. F1 particles. On these membranous structures, this inner membrane and outer membrane, there are so many enzymes. We discussed about enzymes before. Simply remember, whenever you get the word enzyme, it is a biocatalyst. You know what is a catalyst? It enhances the rate of reaction. It increases the rate of reaction. Biologically, if anything is increasing the rate of reaction, that is called as enzyme. On this inner mitochondrial membrane as well as outer mitochondrial membrane, there are so many enzymes that are embedded in it. And the space that is present between these membranes is called as intermembranous space. Intermembranous space. The space between the membranes. And there are so many functions that are carried out between this space also. Okay. This mitochondria in the matrix, it has small ribosomes, and actually ribosomes are organelles. They are present in mitochondria also. And apart from this ribosomes, there are RNA molecules. RNA molecules. And a circular DNA is also present. Circular DNA is also present. These three are useful for synthesis of proteins. For production of proteins, ribosomes are also useful. I said your endoplasmic reticulum has, rough endoplasmic reticulum has ribosomes. That is why it is able to produce proteins. So in this mitochondria also, ribosomes are there. So wherever ribosomes are there, understand one thing, protein synthesis takes place. For the production of proteins, RNA molecules, DNA molecules are also required, that is present inside this mitochondria. Some RNA molecules, some DNA molecules are present. So this is the reason why a mitochondria can reproduce itself. It can reproduce itself. Like a cell divides to produce new cell. Amoeba. Like a cell reproduces another cell. One cell divides to form two cells. Same like that, one mitochondria divides by fission, binary fission, and it forms two mitochondria. In this way, new mitochondria are produced inside the cell. Okay? So structure is very important, children. You'll have it in your class 9 also, class 10 also. You need to remember this, fix in mind, that's all. What is the function of mitochondria? Mitochondria produces and stores ATP molecules. ATP molecules are produced and stored inside this mitochondria. What is an ATP molecule? ATP molecule is abbreviated form of adenosine triphosphate. Okay, one adenosine molecule is there. Phosphate, phosphate, phosphate. Three phosphate molecules are there. Then it is called as adenosine triphosphate. This molecule, if this bond breaks, phosphate bond breaks, it turns into adenosine diphosphate. Adenosine diphosphate, ADP molecule. At that time, 7,200 calories of energy is released, or 7.2 kilocalories of energy is released. Both are same. So, this molecule is called as energy currency of cell. Energy currency of cell. Why is it called as energy currency of cell? Whenever our body requires energy, ATP molecules that are present in mitochondria will break down to produce ATP molecule, ADP molecule, and release the energy. This energy is used for our everyday activities. So that is why this is called as energy currency of cell. And not only it is used up like currency, it can be stored also. It can be stored in mitochondria. If we have excess of energy in our body, that will be converted into ATP molecule and it is stored inside the mitochondria. That is why mitochondria is called as powerhouse of the cell. Powerhouse of the cell. Whenever power is required by body for any everyday activities, ATP molecules are taken from all the mitochondria that are present in all cells of our body, especially muscle cells. So that is why it is called as powerhouse of the cell. Right? Anything left? No. Next cell organelle is plastids. Next, plastids. Plastids are the cell organelles plastids or cell organelles which have pigments in them. What are pigment? You might have heard about chlorophyll. What is this chlorophyll? It gives green color to leaves. Green color to leaves. So, there are various substances that are present in the plant cells which give colors to the plant cells. So, the color to the parts of the plant. Okay. Such molecules which give color to the parts of plants are called as pigments. Color giving substances. These pigments are present in plastids. Where are plastids present? They are present in plant cells and certain unicellular organisms. Unicellular organisms like euglena. Okay. Euglena is a unicellular organism that has some amount of chlorophyll in it. Okay. The family of Euglena, there are other types of cells like this also. They all have the plastids. Plastids are of three types. First one is chloroplast. Second one is chromoplast. And third one is leucoplast. Chloroplast, as you know very well, they have chlorophyll pigments. They are present in leaves. Okay. Chloro means green, phyll means leaf. Okay. It is giving green color to leaf. And it is also involved in photosynthesis, the process by which plant produces food. Its own food is called as photosynthesis. In this process also, chlorophyll is involved, chloroplast is involved. Chromoplast, it consists of pigments called carotenoids and xanthophyll. Xanthophyll is a yellow or yellowish brown pigments. Carotenoids, they can be red color, they can be orange color, they can be yellow color. Okay, by combination of carotenoids and xanthophylls in various proportions, different colors are present inside the flowers and fruits. Okay, flowers and fruits are having various colors because of presence of chromoplast. Where is it present? In flowers and fruits. What is the main purpose of this colorful flowers and fruits? To attract insects for pollination. Attract insects for pollination. The third type of plastid is leucoplast. Leucoplasts are, leuco means white. They are white in color. White in color means what will be the pigment that is present? No pigments. What is the purpose of this leucoplast? They store food. They store food. Carrots are able to store food. It has leucoplast. Radish is able to store food. It has leucoplast. Potato is able to store food. It has leucoplast. In this leucoplast, there are three types of leucoplast. Amyloblasts, aleuroplast, elioplast. Amyloplasts store carbohydrates. Eleuroplasts store proteins. And elioplasts store fats or lipid molecules. Okay. Next, we'll discuss in detail the structure of chloroplast. Chloroplast has several things similar to that of mitochondria. It is also having a double membrane envelope. Double membrane envelope. The shape of chloroplast can be oval shape or spherical shaped, lens shaped or discoid shaped or ribbon like. Ribbon like oval shape. This is oval shape. Sometimes it can be present spherical. It can be lens shaped like this or it can be discoid like this. Like this. Doraemons, you know the biscuits of Doraemons. What is the Dora cake? Same Dora cake shape. And ribbon shape. I already told you about spirogyrite has chloroplast like this. This is ribbon-like chloroplast. Okay, oval shape. These all shapes are present. And if you see the length, 5 to 12 micrometer. This is the length. And breadth is 2 to 4 micrometer. 2 to 4 micrometer of breadth. Next, coming to the structure of chloroplast. Chloroplast has a double outer membrane and a third inner membrane is folded into small structures called thylakoids. There are so many thylakoids like this. So each of this coin-like structure is called as thylakoid and stacks of thylakoid are called as grana. So there are so many thylakoids like this. I am drawing few. They are interconnected by another tubular grana which are called as stroma lamellae. Called as stroma. This is called as stroma lamellae. So they are connected like this. The liquid portion that is present inside this is called as stroma. So like a mitochondria, inside this stroma also, there are so many ribosomes. Ribosomes are present, DNA is present, RNA is present, and same like mitochondria, chloroplast also produce themselves. Same like mitochondria, chloroplast also can produce themselves by simple fission. Okay, so that is the reason why they have their own DNA, their own RNA, and their own ribosomes. So you can see there are some circular DNA molecules, some RNA molecules, ribosomes, freely floating. Apart from that, there are some starch granules also that are present inside this. The starch granules store starch that is produced by this chloroplast. The enzymes that are required for photosynthesis are present in the thylakoids as well as in the stroma. Part of the photosynthesis occurs in this thylakoid membranes and part of the photosynthesis occurs in this liquid matrix called stroma. Right? So that is about the structure of chloroplast. Next cell organelle is ribosomes. Very simple. The structure of ribosomes was first given by George Palade. Ribosomes consist of two subunits. Okay. This is smaller subunit. This is larger subunit. Okay. There are two types of ribosomes. 70S ribosome, 80S ribosome. 70S ribosome is made up of two subunits, that is 30S subunit and 50S subunit, whereas 80S is made up of 40S subunit and 60S subunit. What is this S? S means Swedberg unit. Swedberg unit, that is based on both density as well as size. It measures density as well as size. Okay. So if you combine 30S subunit and 50S subunit, what you should get? 80S subunit. But it's not like that. It is 70S. Why? A small portion of smaller subunit overlaps on this larger subunit. That is the reason why there is a decrease in number. When you combine 40 and 60, it should be 100. But 80 because there is a small overlapping of larger and smaller subunit. What is the main function of ribosomes? It helps in protein synthesis. Protein synthesis. Okay, I'll repeat it. Ribosomes was first discovered by George Palade. It consists of two subunits. One is smaller subunit, second one is larger subunit. There are two types of ribosomes, 70S ribosomes, 80S ribosomes. 70S ribosome is made up of 30S and 50S subunits. 80S is made up of 40S and 60S subunits. Okay. The number decreases. When you add 30 and 50, it should be 80, but it is 70 because of overlap of smaller subunit over the larger subunit. What is S? S is Swedberg unit, which measures both density as well as size of these molecules. 70S ribosomes are present in prokaryotes and 80S ribosomes are present in eukaryotes. Not only that, 70S ribosomes is also present in chloroplast. And mitochondrial ribosomes are recently discovered and it seems to be 50S subunit. Only 50S ribosome. Mitochondrial ribosome is of 50th subunit. Okay. And where are these ribosomes present? By this time you should know where the ribosomes are present. Is it present in cytoplasm? Yes. Is it present binding to endoplasmic reticulum? Yes, we saw rough endoplasmic reticulum. Is it present in mitochondria? Yes, we have seen it in mitochondria also. Is it present in chloroplast? Yes. So in all these locations we can find ribosomes. Okay. So with this, we're stopping and we'll continue with some more organelles tomorrow.